Take it there? Who gon' take it there? Who gon' take it there? Who gon' take it there? Electricity, 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 electricity. You know what's in the air. 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 It's possibility. It's possibility. It's possibility. It's possibility.
So I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Elon now. I saw that his newest kid, 13X Kevlar 2, whatever its name is, that he had with was Ashley St. Clair. Not to disparage sex workers at all or anything, but that is a porn star name if I've ever heard one. But he had through IVF, and I guess a couple of his kids have been. I think part of that is because you can choose the sex, but I'm just amazed because I assumed all these kids he was having was just because he was using his money and power to have sex with as many women as he could. I didn't realize he is intentionally trying to sire a brood. Like, he's talked about it. I guess he one of his worldviews is about population collapse, and so he wants to have as many kids as possible, which doesn't really make sense if you're choosing to make them male, because, you know, it'd make more sense to have women if you wanted to do that, or you just wouldn't specifically care about the gender at very least. But he's trying to build this weird little army, and I don't get it. I would assume it's less about population control and more about white erasure. That's usually what, you know, the right these days is so concerned about in America. But I don't know that he has any dog in that fight, really, being from South Africa. I guess he's an American now. He's like the de facto, you know, king of the country at this point. So maybe he cares about white erasure in America. But I had no idea about any of this. And, you know, he's parading X around like, you know, a trophy ever since, you know, Luigi. He's using him to at the very least humanize him, if not like literally as a human shield. The way he carries them in front of his center mass all the time is pretty telling. But you have any idea what's going on with that?
Yeah, that's funny you brought that up. I've been wanting to talk about the, what's her name, Ashley St. Clair thing. He sent some really weird messages to her because she's now posting messages that they had back and forth. And you can see, same thing you're talking about at CPAC, where this guy's just like really weird and unhinged. You see the same thing in these text messages where he's like not even like responding to her on a human level. He's like just saying weird things to her, like, well, we are supposed to have a legion of children together. It's just weird. And I think that he genuinely feels it's valuable to create a bunch of offspring. Somebody described it as a Genghis Khan mentality, just creating as much offspring as you can. And then I think that he likes the fact that because he's rich and powerful, he does not have to invest in all of these different children, like at all. Like, you know, maybe his money can go towards keeping them straight, but in a lot of cases, probably not even that. And it's like, so he just doesn't have to raise these babies at all. And I think that he just thinks there's value in spreading his genes, probably because he genuinely thinks that he's the smartest, coolest, bravest, most heroic guy in the world. And so the number one imperative is to spread those genes. The interesting thing to me is that is such just like Trump, that is such a subversion of what like conservative family politics are supposed to be about, you know? And Trump already threw a wrench in that since he came into politics, because he already is such a subversion of that with the whole Stormy Daniels thing and just all the grossness of him in general. But then you got this guy, Elon Musk, who's like he's like a turbo deadbeat dad. You know what I mean? He's like trying to be the most deadbeat dad that ever beat dead. And like, I just don't know how that fits into the conservative worldview. But I think really they're going with whatever benefits them, which is why they're succeeding. And as far as what Elon is trying to do, I did a video about this recently because there was sort of a light bulb moment that I saw happen where a couple people that I follow realized that the reason he's going into these agencies and trying to get his hands on all of this data is because he wants these scientists, these data scientists, or whatever the fuck you would call them, programmers, I guess, that work for him to learn how these government systems work so that they can create an alternative to it. So that essentially it's just about the privatization of government. They want to break the actual government system, create a shiny new private system called Govt or whatever, and then everybody's just going to rely on that. And it also folds into Elon's whole fantasy of turning Twitter into the everything app, right? He wants it to be a place where people can buy things, people can call their mother, people can look things up, all that. It's like he wants everything to. So having the information about how the payment systems of the government work is something that he can ultimately fold into his own business model. And there was somebody else that was commenting recently, probably at CPAC, but maybe somewhere else, some conservative, I think associated with Palantir, who was saying that the point of doing these firings in the government and all of this disruption is to send a signal to private companies like Palantir and BlackRock, etc., that these are gaps that can be filled by their private businesses. So that's pretty much the play, is that not only do they want to break government so that that creates opportunity for private businesses, but they also want to learn and suck up as much data as they can, AI style, so that they can try to create competitive models and just own everything. They just want to own everything in the country that works. I've heard people mention the human shield thing before with his son, but I never heard it in regards to like an assassination, like literal human shield. If someone tries to shoot Elon and he assassin pops out and it's like, oh no, you can't shoot Elon. He's got his cute little son with him. And honestly, have to say, I'm not persuaded. But anyway, watch this video of Elon leaving his own son behind at CPAC.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people refer to him as a human shield, and some people even talking about how he does have him there as a physical human shield. I have this buddy who's even farther left than me, if you can believe it, and he wholeheartedly believes that if there was a shooter, Elon would hold the kid up in front of him. I don't know about maybe, but I think it's more of a metaphorical thing. He's just trying to put out that idea that, I'm a family man, don't shoot me. He was trying to humanize himself by having the kid with him at all times. But I don't know, that video you sent where he left him behind is pretty telling. And now Grimes is tweeting about how the son apparently has a serious medical condition that Elon's not taking care of or not helping her, and apparently trying to get full custody, or said she's going to seek custody. I don't know. I doubt that'll work out well for her with, him being the richest man in the world, but we'll see what happens there. It makes total sense what you're saying about him dismantling the government so he can basically sell the U.S. a, replacement for it. I'm sure that's a big part of his motivation and what he's doing here. But the whole making a brood and the Legion thing, I looked over the sex you were talking about. To me, it's just one of his, little crazy fantasies about himself, and like you said, the Genghis Khan thing. It looks like, too, those texts, it sounds like when he's all whacked out of his mind on ketamine, kind of like how he was at the CPAC thing. He's just fucking stoned and manic and just having a good old time. I don't know if you watched that CPAC thing, but that was ridiculous. Chainsaw, and he's like, oh, come on, the left tried to, make comedy illegal. What's the deal with that? And it's just it seemed like a parody of himself. It looked like a bad sketch. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Every day I feel like that with this guy. Then the next thing he does is always crazier than the last. And the last thing seemed so insane, I didn't think it was possible to top it. And he comes out and does it again. I think I'm a little confused on, though, with the Ashley St. Clair thing. It was an IVF baby, and they didn't have sex. They didn't apparently seem to have a real relationship. It was just more transactional from everything I've read. But then those texts, it seems like maybe they did, or maybe it's just some kind of he's cosplaying a deadbeat dad. It's his version of intimacy or romance, I guess.
Yeah, I was wondering about that myself, because the general narrative is that they conceived through IVF, but the text messages do make it seem a little bit more like they were fuck buddies or something, which is gross to think about. But I could see it going either way. That could be, the IVF thing could be something that they made up, or it could be like you said, that like Elon literally just views that as like romantic and sexy, like literally inseminating a woman remotely in a lab. Maybe that's what he was talking about. I don't know. It's more likely that they just fucked and then made up the IVF thing as like cover for his public image, although I'm not really sure why that's necessary at this point.
Yeah, I was listening to a Chapo Trap House the other day. They were making some good jokes about how Elon's favorite part of romance is mailing sperm across the country, or the NDA that you have to have him sign afterwards. But yeah, I believe it was IVF, but it's probably strictly so he can choose the sex. I mean, that's a big part of it for him, is making sure he has these male children. So I guess that's the way to guarantee it, the only way to guarantee it that I know of, at least. One thing I am confused about with him, though, is how people still think he's some kind of like tech genius, like computer wizard guy. Because I know he's gone out of his way to put that image out there and buy titles and do things to make himself seem like this real life Tony Stark figure. But like all the things he's been transparent on, the fraud he's found through Doge, he's just been wrong about. And some of it's just straight up wrong, like the $50 million on condoms for Gaza thing that was 15. It was for another country, and a country with, the name escapes me right now, but they have a serious AIDS epidemic there and is trying to keep it from spreading and help those people and ourselves by not having it spread. But a lot of it has been where he just him or his team does not understand the technical stuff. Like, they don't know the difference between SQL databases and Excel and this and that, and it's constantly like old code that's screwing them up or making them think there's 150-year-olds getting Social Security checks, or two people drawing Social Security checks under the same social, when it's just, their technical mistake. He's constantly outing himself for being an idiot when it comes to tech stuff, but people still think he's some genius computer programmer guy, and he's not even close to that. One thing, like the security that you're afforded with him, like, we understand that, right? But I guess it's that rich and powerful thing is biting Ashley St. Clair in the ass. At least she's complained about how she's already, received death threats for her child, and apparently she claims that someone sent her a picture of her child with like blood photoshopped on it or something, and that's horrible. No one should do that, obviously. But she says that she hasn't been able to leave her $40,000 a month apartment he put her up in, that her son is 5 months old and has never taken a walk outside. But she said, well, I don't know how he would 5 months, but yeah, I get it. You could put him in a stroller and take him for a walk, but apparently she can't do any of that stuff. So I don't know what the trade-off is, because he's come out as, he's always been like this shitbag business guy that's pissed a lot of people off over the years. But now that he's a literal Nazi, I mean, there's no way, there's no denying it after that salute. And then that same week, he's sitting there talking at some far-right German convention thing. Like, it's very clear he's a Nazi. He comes from Nazis. He is a Nazi. Like, unless that's your thing, I don't understand how you're attracted to it.
Yeah, it's crazy because Elon Musk has a lot of kids, and it seems, at least right now, like his alienated trans daughter is by far the most normal out of any of them. I mean, really, she's just the only one that we've heard from. But I mean, that story about how his kid's isn't allowed to walk outside with this Ashley St. Clair, I hadn't even heard that. That's fucking crazy. And I feel like a lot of his kids are going to be fucked up in that way. And Vivian is as well. But at least she has the sort of coherence and the ability to talk about it publicly, and the fucking fearlessness to talk about it publicly. You know what I mean? Like, imagine your father, not only somebody that you have like deep personal issues with because they alienated you as a trans person and made you feel bad and, bashed you publicly and all that. There's tons of people who have those type of issues with their parents, and it, I imagine, makes that parent in your mind like an indescribably evil force. But imagine if that person that represents that in your life was also literally the most powerful person in the world. That's crazy. I wish Vivian only the best, because like, what a nightmare reality. But I really do respect the way that she speaks out against him, even though he's her own father. It's like mad respect for that. And she's obviously on the right side of history because of it.
Yeah, I can only imagine having those kind of issues with your father, but then on top of it, having to, every single time you turn on the TV or open your phone, see his face and what insane thing he's doing now, and how, most of the world thinks he's an insane asshole, and having to have that like shoved down your throat constantly. We could all really take a lesson in strength from Vivian. More power to her.
And also, because of this new directive from the Trump administration that you must email Elon Musk a report about what you've done that week in order to keep your job, I wanted to post this government email here for everybody. You can directly contact Elon through this email and just let him know what you've gotten done this week. It's really important for him to know that, and for all of us to qualify our productivity and our value as human beings, really. So just, send Elon a message, give him some of your thoughts about how you feel about things in general, and let him know some of the stuff you've been doing this week.
If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you really want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. That's the best way to support the channel. I'm going to be posting all kinds of exclusive content on there, exclusive podcasts, songs, beats. If you like the beats that play in the back of these podcasts, all that's going to be posted there, and more. If there's ideas that you have for content that you would like to see exclusively, let me know and we'll try some things out.